Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to walk you through the process of cloning the exercises repository, running its exercise locally on our computer and trying to pass as many tests as possible. Then of course submitting the exercise. So the first thing we have to do is clone the repository. I'm going to copy the URL and I'm going to use SSH. I'm going to go to VS Code. I'm going to open terminal. I'm going to switch to a different directory and then git clone the repository there. You can choose whatever folder you think is good for you. So I'm going to switch to the newly created folder of the cloned repository and I'm going to run the code.command in order for this folder to open in VS Code. Here is the cloned repository. I'm going to start with the first exercise. Each exercise is placed in its own folder. Each exercise has two files, a JS file and a .spec.js file, which is contains the tests running to ensure that we have solved the exercise. There's also a README Markdown file which describes what we want to do in this exercise. It contains the instructions on solving the exercise. So I'm going to go through the first exercise, the Hello World, which is just an instructional exercise. So the first thing I want to do is I want to run the tests on this spec file. So the logic is this. This is the code. This is the file where I should be writing the code. And this file, the spec, contains the tests that run and ensure that everything I need to do, all the changes I need to do on the Hello World.js are placed and the code runs as expected. So this is a simple test, and in order to run this test, I'm going to go to the folder Hello World and run the following command. So this uses the Node Package Manager command tool, which downloads and executes various npm packages, Node.js packages. The Jasmine package is the one that we need in order to run the tests. So I'm going to execute the Jasmine test runner and I'm going to test this file. So I'm going to run this file and you will see that I have one spec, so one test, and it's failing. And I get a description here. It says hello world, this is the first test. This is the test, as you can see here in the code. And it says expected this empty string to equal hello world. So we are expecting hello world, but instead we got this empty string. So in order to make the test pass, I need to go to hello world and fix the code, change the code in order to get the expected result. So I'm going to open this file here on the right and I'm going to change something on the function. So since we're expecting the hello world string in order for the test to pass, I'm going just to return what is expected. So I've made some changes to the code and then I'm going to go back to the console and hit the up arrow key to run the tests again. As you can see here, we have one test and 0 failures. So it means that all the tests have passed. So this exercise is ready to be submitted, and I'm going to move forward to the next exercise, since this was just an introductory sample exercise. So I'm going to move to, let's say, the repeat string exercise. So I'm going to open the instructions here. I'm going to temporarily close all the windows. So it says write a function that simply repeats the string a given number of times. For example, we have a function called repeat string. We're going to pass a string as the first argument and then the times that we want this string to be repeated. For example, 3 times means that this string should output, the function should output hey hey hey, the hey string 3 times. So I'm going to open the file. This is the code that I have to update, and I'm also going to open the test file just to have this here on the right. We can do this. I'm using the command and pipe character shortcut, but you can do this by right clicking and selecting split right. So this places this tab on the right side while I have the code on the left side. So for this test to run, I need to switch back to the parent directory, and then I'm going to go to the repeat string folder and run the npx jasmine and run the specs, the tests. As you can see, I have 7 specs this time. These are all the tests. And I have one failure. I have one failure because currently only the first test is running, the one with the it function. All the others have this exit, which currently are pending tests or pending specs, meaning that they won't be running unless we rename them to it from exit. So let's run the code like this and see where we are failing. I will scroll up and it says that expected undefined. We got undefined, but we expected the result to equal hey 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 and not undefined. So this is the function that returned the undefined, and of course we need to make the test pass. So I will just return the expected value, which is hey hey hey. Let's change this return value, and then I'm going to run the tests again. And as you can see, I have 7 specs, no failures, but I still have 6 pending tests, which means I need to run all the tests. I'm going to rename the next test to it. I'm going to run the tests again, and I have one failure. So this time the second test, as you will see, fails. It says that I was expecting hey 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 hey. This is the test which needs to return the hey string 10 times, but instead I got hey hey hey. Of course, this is obvious because I'm always returning hey hey hey, and I'm never going to get something different. So I have to update the code in order for these 2 tests to pass. So instead of returning a hard-coded string, I will add 2 parameters. The first one will be the string, of course, and the other one will be the times. So string str will be this first argument, and times will be 10 or 3 or 1 or whatever the users place. So now I need to return a string a number of times. For this to pass, I need to loop over the number of times. So I'm going to run a simple for loop. If this times is 3, this will run 3 times, otherwise it will run 10 or 1 or whatever value goes into times. So I'm going to create an empty string, and then each time this loop runs, I'm going to append the string to the output, and once the loop stops, I'm going to return this output. Now let's run the tests again. And as you can see, 7 specs, 0 failures. So it means that these two tests have successfully passed. And then I'm going to rename all the rest of the tests from X-it to it, and because I want all the tests to run. Now I'm going to run the tests again, and as you can see, I have one failure. I'm going to go through and see repeat string returns error with negative numbers. So this test is this one, and I was expecting error, but instead got an empty string. So I'll have to fix my function in order for the required return value to be returned. So for this test to pass, I need to check the times, see if it is a negative number, and if it is a negative number, I will have to return the required output, which is the error. So let's test the code now, and as you can see, everything is okay now. All the tests pass. I have 7 specs, no pending specs, 0 failures, so I'm ready to move on to the next test. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to commit and push your changes once you you solve a test, an exercise. So good luck.